We like your background.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much. All right. How are you both doing today?
good.
Good.
How are you?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I'll get started with you first. Well, first of all, I'll give you my thoughts real quick on the film. It was very emotional film. I loved, I enjoyed the political statement along with the horror that was mixed in with it. Um, it's just terrifying that, his family's on the run and they're not safe, literally in their own backyard, their own country. So it was really powerful and I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Powerful
you.
story.
Yeah, thanks
Um,
for
and with,
watching.
and with that being said, um, with the current state of everything in our world, was this seems kind of personal. Did this story come from a personal experience or someone you knew that had an experience such as this?
Yeah, so the story was inspired from my own mother.
Mhm.
She was a political activist in the 70s in Iran. I was born in Iran and I came to the US when I was one. So I was born after the revolution, but just hearing my mom's stories, how she was kind of, lack of a better word, resistance member during the revolution against this brutal regime in Iran, inspired me to write something. And it started out as a contained family drama, but because I'm such a genre nerd, I wanted to bring in a lot of like cool horror elements to it. And but not really, I didn't really want to just tack on genre elements. It needed to serve the story in a way, emotionally. So ultimately it took, through development, it went from this contained family drama to this contained family drama that's got genre elements to it. And the genre elements serve the story, right? So it's like the past meets the present meets the
Mhm.
future, sort of thing, kind of like a cyclical, history repeats itself type situation.
And did you go through a lot of rewrites since you were the director and the writer, since you had obviously had access to yourself, but did you go through a lot of rewrites on set?
Yeah, on set, yeah, I was so I landed in Louisiana where we shot the film, just a little outside of New Orleans. And as I was scouting for locations, I was constantly seeing, we were limited in resources. Um, but in some ways that also helped me be more creative
Hmm.
and more on my toes. So as I was scouting, I was driving through Louisiana and visiting these like plantation homes and these insane locations. I was getting ideas, and I was also hearing, notes from the producers what we can get and what we can't get. So I was continuously rewriting every day in the 1 month prep before we started principal photography. But even during shooting, I was rewriting the script. Even before like Jackie would walk from the trailer to set, I was rewriting some of her dialogue, or she would
Yeah.
rewrite dialogue and be like, "Is this, does this work?" So yeah, constantly rewriting. And I think on an independent, film, that's kind of like part of the game
Yeah.
because you're not sure if you're going to get certain locations or props or whatever situation. So you gotta be scrappy.
And Jackie, your character breaks out of a political prison, reunites with your family, your husband, your daughter. What did you find so appealing about your character? What kind of drew you in to play her?
Well, being a leader,
Yeah.
someone who is not afraid to use her voice for injustice, someone who will fight for you know the truth, so will fight for what is right in the world. And I've been working a lot with the Justice League, and I've done marches. I've been at the border. I've seen firsthand of women like Carmen Perez being a mother, and how do they balance activism, and how it's so important to be a mother, but also you're trying to change the world for your kid.
Yeah.
So maybe in the future they could change the world. You don't know what you have to do it's just a bigger, I just saw like this character that was like she's changing the world in her own way to make it better, even though it's like, she could die doing that, and I
Yeah.
just thought that was beautiful. And I was very inspired by Bo's mother, and wanted to make her proud. And um, it was my first lead role, and to be have a lead like this is so intense and powerful and outspoken. And I fell in love with the dialogue, and also what she had to say, and I believed it. So I hope that people get something out of this film, not just get scared from it, but
Yeah.
also because it could be really very close to real, but also you know to use their voice for the good. And family to me is so important. And becoming a mother, I shot this film after giving birth. I was 3 months after giving birth. So the 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 love you have for this little person, you'll kill anybody for them. So I didn't know that until I became a mother, and I felt like that really helped my character Alegre. And yeah, I just got really lucky that my first big role was to play someone like her. That's so cool.
I think you answered my next question. I was going to ask, 'cause it's a very emotional film. Your character goes through, being frightened, being sad, and I was going to ask you how you get into character, but I think you kind of just said it yourself, just giving birth
Yeah,
so early on, right before shooting this.
yeah.
I'm sure
I
you
already
used that.
had, yeah, and I had, when you're, it's just that adrenaline, that urgency to protect your child. Like, just put myself in that position. And also, it just felt so real in New Orleans, shooting in a scary home already, and just all the things that weren't going your way, and then how do we incorporate that in the film. And a beautiful collaboration with Bo and I. How do I get her? He would send me clips of Alien, and this is how you have to get the people's attention.
Yeah.
And that's how you get his attention, because Paul is a very strong character, regardless his role and as a person. So I had to make him believe that I'm not gonna say, that I'm more powerful than him, but that like
Yeah.
my words had meaning and he had to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And he kind of dismisses you at times too.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So it was not easy trying to get that, you know, as yeah. So I hope that you got that. I don't know. I was very scared to watch the film, but after I saw it, I was happy.
yeah, no, I definitely got it for sure. And Bo, can you like, from your creative process from when you first got into the industry until now, can you tell me how that's evolved, how it's changed over time?
Yeah, you mean like my own career
Oh
or
yeah, your personal, yeah.
yeah. So I grew up in Long Beach, California,
Hmm.
and I started out making skate videos because I was like in the skate scene in Long Beach,
Yeah.
and I was never good enough to be like the skater. So I picked up the camera and was like filming the guys that were good.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, in high school, I discovered Spike Jones,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this guy makes commercials and music videos and skate videos. Like, what is this? So I started doing music videos, and then I started doing commercials. So most of, paying the bills came from commercials and music videos. And then I've always loved writing. I have a huge family. I have like 19 first cousins.
Mm.
So growing up, I would grab my cousins like in high school and we go make films. They were really bad, but they were really fun to make. Uh, and just having that experience, I always liked writing. So I just started writing stuff, and yeah, it kind of led me to this. The way this came about was um, I was working with a treatment writer, a good friend of mine, and he read one of the early drafts of History of Evil, and he shared it to his roommate, I think, at the time, or friend, who was working at XYZ, and he read it and he really liked it. He gave me a call. He was a producer there, gave me a call, and then they brought in Two and Two, which is Bobak Anvari and Luke and Toe's company. They did Under the Shadow. And yeah, so we just started developing it with them. A lot of rewrites, a lot of rewrites. There was a point where I was like, this is never going to get made. Like, there's so many notes. But in the end, I think like, you know, all those rewrites, sometimes going backwards in the process of writing, and then going forward and then getting stuff kind of like needed to happen to get to where it is now.
Yeah. Probably turned into a whole different movie by the time all the rewrites were done.
Completely different film. It's insane. Yeah.
And then Jackie, when you're on set, how do you navigate building the chemistry with your co-stars? I know sometimes you know people, sometimes you're just arriving on set and you're meeting them for the first time. So how do
Yeah.
you go
It
about
was
doing
for the
that?
first time. Definitely, all of them were for the first time. I very like I'm a kid at heart, so
Yeah.
I got along super well with my daughter Murphy that plays Daria. Her mother was very sweet as well, so she let me get attached to her and
Very
she
good.
let me like talk to her, and she wasn't too protective, like, okay, you're like, no, she was welcoming, which was beautiful thing because that way we got to work on our chemistry offset and also, when we weren't shooting, and that was very authentic, our relationship, and very real, and I do love her and
Yeah.
she loves me and we're best friends, literally, like we had nicknames for each other and everything. And then Paul, he would, since his character was very, he calls it not evolution, but
Mhm.
devolution. What is it? It's the opposite of evolution. Someone who's becoming someone else that's not good.
Yeah.
Devolution. Okay, yeah. So it was probably really hard for him to also, become this person. So him and I spoke on the phone, and we try to get a drink, but like I told you, I'm a mom and I was just with my aunt, so it was hard to like leave set, but we got to talk with Bo and everything before we shot, and kind of, spoke a little bit, just me and him, just to get that chemistry going. But it was intense because it was a fast shoot and we had to get from 0 to 100, very quickly. So
Yeah.
I would have to say, yeah, it was very challenging, but when you have good people to work with, and
Mhm.
when you're doing an independent film, you get close with people, hair people, whatever.
Yeah,
So
everybody. Yeah.
it was a friendly set, and everybody was, because it's the South, everybody was super nice, and you know and it was during COVID, so yeah, it was challenging, but I hope that like you felt the connection between, well, Paul and I were kind of going this way. We were close at the
Definitely. Yeah.
beginning, but so it worked for the role, you know what I mean? So we didn't have to have that chemistry really too much. It was kind of like him not liking me throughout the film. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
regardless, we are friends, but I'm saying like we didn't really have to have that like lovey-dovey kind of chemistry. So us kind of not talking and being super friendly with each other was kind of helpful. I mean, we were friendly to each other, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying like that was, we had to go from 0 to 100,
Yeah.
so that, yeah, it played off really well.
Yeah. It
Just
Yeah,
not
definitely
knowing
worked.
each other.
Yeah.
and
It
just to
definitely
add
worked
to
to your
that real
advantage.
quick, yeah, sorry, just to add to that, like I think their characters didn't really have to have chemistry because Alegre was gone for so long in this political prison, and
Yeah.
Juan was kind of like frustrated with his own life and raising this kid and his daughter and all this stuff. So the lack of chemistry they had on screen helped in a way and made things a little more, authentic because that's what it needs to be. It's not like it's not a rom-com where they needed to be like super
Yeah.
lovey-dovey, but they couldn't find time to get together and find that chemistry together. So I think that helped us,
But
you
you
know?
know, he put his life on the line for me at the beginning too. So I hope that you felt that family in the beginning, you know, and that devolution. I don't know how the
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
word is, but him, you know, kind of dissolving into this
Unraveling.
terrible.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, like his character unraveling, descending into
Unraveling,
Mhm.
yeah, descending into
Yeah.
this person that wasn't very friendly. But my favorite part was when we were in the kitchen and feeding the dog cheese. I felt like that was a really pretty family moment.
Yeah.
Lovey-dovey when he was still not becoming that evil person yet. But like, you know, both said, the lack of chemistry was kind of helpful. Not that we like we were friendly to each other, but I mean we didn't have
Yeah.
to be like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So not knowing each other was helpful is what I'm trying to say.
And you needed the sort of, you know, the
Awkwardness.
scenes in the
Yeah.
kitchen where you're feeding the dog and you guys are bonding as a family. You needed that because then that made the later scenes where Ron starts to turn even more heightened, you know?
Yeah.
There's
Right.
more of a sharp contrast. So yeah.
Definitely resonated on screen. Thank you both so much. We're out of time.
Thank you.
Went by quick, but congratulations. And Shudder's a great
Thank
place
you.
to house this film. So I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's reactions out there. So thank you
Yeah,
again.
me too.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.